wine carrier, the king's butler, the wine. And then, now, this is the second section of the procession. This is the two groups. There's two groups coming. You can see the lion, the skin of the lion. The skin of the lion coming in is the two groups. And that is the ornamented chair. And the silver casket. Then the king is riding on the power king, the silver casket. And then the show. The show. Please, above of His Majesty the President, and stand. We respectfully ask you to stand. The Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, canopied under 7 umbrellas. And he's wearing sumptuous gold ornaments from the head to toe, with the phantom throne. There he is. There he is. There he is. The drawing behind him is called phantom throne. It shows the heroism, militancy, the heroism in Asante. That's the ground behind him. Right behind him, the people coming behind, the guy in the casket is called Mswati. Mswati is like a fridge where there's water and food in case the king would give water. That is Mswati. And right there we have the gun bearers. Now, all these guns, that's why they're playing this way. The bats, they go somewhere, shows the history of all of them. They are the special guards of Otumfuo. We have the morning soldiers, we have all the special regulars. Every barrier have history. So this is history in motion. History in motion, and that means we are also performing history. History is performed in Asante. And the king, usually would be in the front king. The man carrying the king is a robe. The robe has the head and have a called bamboo. This particular carving is called Procession. Is the one he uses for celebrating occasions. When we have funeral, there's another carving called the leper. We will use the leper carving. And then there's another carving that is seen in only once. It's called Amoakohene. And then our mother has his own carving called sickle. I'll be standing here to the side to give you more explanation to Otumfuo. As you can see, all the music, the king, the Asante king, is supposed to be the patron of the arts, the music. But the patron of the music, it is expected of him to respond appropriately to music. That is why he was dancing. So he is the patron of the Ceremonial and Ceremonial. He is the patron. I'm going to continue a little bit for you here. As you can see, this is a large gathering of what we call paramount chiefs. Asante as a kingdom is big. Asante is not only in Asante region. Asante, we have over 70 kings, 70 paramount chiefs under the Asantehene. The only king, we have 70 paramount chiefs. And what you see here, several of the paramount chiefs. But the seating arrangement, at this time when the king, the Asante king sits down, then he will send one of the sons to go and inform the mother that he is seated. And I'm talking about the Asantehema. In English, they say Asante Queen. But that son will go and inform, and it doesn't have to be a biological mother. For us, the queen is symbolically the mother of the king. Right now, the Asantehemaa is the older sister of the king, but symbolically, she is still the mother. So she's coming, and she has her own sickle, the umbrella, but we have the big fans. We have the big fans covering, because for the queen, we don't want people to be looking at the queen like that. Then there's a music to play. And the chiefs, sorry. She will go. Gradually, she will make her.
My brother. Boss.
ensure that the wine is pure and unadulterated. I'll take the first shot. Good wine. You are a bigger person, so you bring from a bigger box. Your Majesty, from here I'll try and give you a welcome, a short welcome address, very short. That's where it was on behalf of Otumfuo Osei Tutu II. Ahmed Your Majesty, now he is going to give you a welcome speech. The same Chieftaincy. Your Majesty, King Mswati III, of Eswatini, Her Royal Highness the King's Consort, esteemed members of the royal family, distinguished delegation from the Kingdom of Eswatini, regional minister and ministers of state, Nananum, eminent traditional leaders, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of His Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, Asantehene, I rise with honor and deep reverence to welcome Your Majesty to Kumasi, the capital of the Asante Kingdom, a land where royal heritage is not only revered but lived. Your Majesty, your presence here is not just a visit. It is a rekindling of the sacred ties that bind African thrones and peoples together. It is indeed a reaffirmation of our shared ancestry, our common destiny, and our undying belief in the dignity, resilience, and future of the African continent. Otumfuo, our King, whose throne stands as a symbol of wisdom, courage, and unity, extends to you the warmest greetings from the depths of his heart. He recognizes in you a fellow guardian of custom, a leader of vision, and a monarch who has upheld the proud traditions of his people, while steering them toward modern advancements. As I don't speak in celebration and our hearts opening fellowship, we trust that your visit shall strengthen the bonds of kinship between Eswatini and Asantehema. May it pave the way for cultural, economic, and spiritual exchanges that honor our past and build a brighter future. We welcome you, Mswati, land of Eswatini, with royal honors and the blessings of our ancestors. May your footsteps on this land be guided by peace and joy and purpose. And may this encounter between two great monarchs echo across Africa as a call to unity, heritage, and progress. Manhyia of Eswatini, welcome, thank you very much.
Your Majesty, Otumfuo the second, esteemed Queen Mothers and Chiefs of the Asantehene, Ministers, Mayors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to join you all here for this magnificent celebration, the Durbar of Chiefs, which serves as a vibrant display of the history and unity of Asante heritage. We deeply appreciate being invited to witness the pride of the people of Ghana and the profound homage paid to the King. What we see is more than a gathering. It is living testimony to the Asantehene spirit, a celebration of your culture, resilience, and the reaffirmation of the significant role of traditional leadership. It reminds us of our cherished cultural traditions in the Kingdom of Eswatini, like the Ingwala, Umhlanga, and the Marula Festival. Umhlanga redance is where our maidens gather in song and dance to honor their chastity, our culture, and the institution of the monarchy. It is then followed by the Ingwala ceremony later in the year, which is a sacred ritual that marks the beginning of the harvest season, celebrating the bounty of the land and expressing gratitude for the king. This involves traditional practices such as the gathering of the shrubs by energetic young men who pay homage to the monarch. It is very important, solemnly prayer for a Mswati, and is joined by everyone. The other important cultural event we have is the celebration of our women through the Marula Festival, where women across the country deliver the Marula fruit and a variety of gifts to Her Majesty in Durbar in a song and dance. These events continue to grow each year as the number of Mswati participants is overwhelming and have become significant tourist attraction ceremonies. We have also witnessed how such celebrations are not only contributing to the preservation of our national identity, they present an indirect and critical economic benefit through tourism. This has an enormous potential to earn foreign revenue for the country. The number of tourists who come from far and wide to witness our cultural display is also growing each year. Each of our countries undoubtedly aspires to have a thriving economy that enables the government to address the needs of its citizens, including job creation, improved infrastructure, and high-quality service delivery, amongst others. In Eswatini, initiatives like the traditional Manhyia attire project use natural dyes and modern techniques to preserve our textiles, ensuring our culture remains relevant. We must continue such efforts, documenting our practices to safeguard them for future generations. While Umhlanga sees our young women take center stage here at Durbar, it is the chiefs whom perform with royal splendor under your Majesty's guardians, uniting the community in a shared celebration. Both events bind our people to their roots, ensuring our heritage strives for generations. Like your Durbar, our cultural ceremonies are vibrant displays of unity and identity, passed down from our ancestors. They are a celebration of culture, preserved through the ages, now entrusted to us to vigorously pass it on to our children. In a world of competing foreign influences, we must hold fast to these traditions, ensuring they remain the heartbeat of our identity. Yesterday, we were taken on a tour of the Manhyia Palace Museum, where we learned of the deep history of the monarchy and its people. This is a crucial exercise to help keep the story of our existence alive and safeguard sacred emblems for the benefit of future generations. However, preservation alone is not enough. We must modernize and document our cultures to strengthen their roles in governance and administration. Our laws must be rooted in our traditions, not superimposed foreign ideals. By codifying our customs, we ensure they are recognized global and serve as tools for good governance. In Eswatini, we strive to blend tradition with progress. Much like the Asante Kingdom's remarkable local government structure for service delivery, which I had the privilege of learning about yesterday. The Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly's integration of traditional leadership into modern administration is a model of how culture can enhance effective governance, ensuring services reach our people while honoring our heritage. Your Majesty, the Asante and the Mswati shared a proud history of resilience against colonial shadows. Your golden stool was never surrendered, and it echoes our unyielding spirit. Just as you gather to honor the Asantehene, our people rally around the Ingwenyama to celebrate our shared destiny. Today we stand united in our duty to preserve our cultures, not as relics, but as living forces guiding our future. Now that we have experienced the full splendor of your wonderful culture, we take this opportunity to extend an invitation to His Majesty to join Mswati for any of one of our national cultural celebrations. We have no doubt that the experience shared with us will be well reciprocated. May we once again extend our deepest gratitude for this extraordinary event. Your Majesty, your visionary leadership is a beacon for African traditional rulers. May the golden stool continue to shine, and may Asantehene and Mswati walk hand in hand, preserving our heritage, modernizing our traditions, and building a future where our children proudly carry our culture forward. I thank you. May Almighty God bless us all. Siabo.
or Ebusia, which are the Oyoko, represented by the hawk, which is the royal clan of Otumfuo. The Agona, represented by the parrot. The Idriana, represented by the dog. The Asene, represented by the bat. Asuna, represented by the crow. Asetri, represented by the vulture. Bretu, represented by the leopard. And the Ekona, represented by the buffalo. Similarly, from our research, the Eswatini kingdom is also organized around powerful clans, represented also by animal totems. So these totems embody ancestral pride and serve as rallying symbols of unity and represent the strength of collective identity. It is in this spirit that the unity staff has been crafted to symbolize the convergence of these two ancient kingdoms and a shared vision for the African continent. So the purpose, if you look at this, this is a staff or a scepter. And a staff or a scepter has historically served as a powerful emblem of authority, wisdom, and spiritual leadership across African monarchies. Its upright stance and central role in royal ceremonies emphasizes guidance, strength, and the moral foundation of kingship. At the center medallion, you have the hawk and the lion. The hawk represents the Oyoko clan and the Asantehene, which symbolizes vigilance, clarity of vision, and nobility. The lion, representing the Winyama of Eswatini, stands for courage, majesty, and strength. Their placement side by side signifies brotherhood and a joint force between the two kingdoms. The Dinkra symbols
love and relief to create a sustainable friendship. We are charged by Otumfuo to present this wonderful gift to His Excellency, His Majesty, sorry. This is called the Tontun Sansan gift. The stool under, that is the gold stool. We call it Sikejwakufi, is in the Asante language. It is a sacred and reverent symbol of the Asante people in Ghana. It represents the soul of the Asante nation and the legitimacy of its rulers. According to us, it descended from the sky in the cloud with white dust, landing in the lap of the first Asantehene, Osei Tutu, in the late 17th century. The gold stool is more than just a stool for us. It houses the collective spirit of Asante spirit, those living, deceased, and yet to be born. Furthermore, you can attest that this too resonates with the current urban culture, embracing a rustic design that expresses itself through cadence of Adowa, Kite, Sanga, and of course, the current one, Asaka. A graffiti-style spray painting and unspoken cultural codes. And we chose the gongon, which is on top, with cowries on it, representing sustainability and prosperity. It recognizes the mouthpiece of community engagement, that is the both Asante and the Eswatini people. It serves a mode of communication between these two communities and its members. It delivers a reliable information in a timely manner and appropriate manner, as we are doing now, fostering to document our culture, improve innovation, and gender inclusion in decision-making too as well. It creates opportunity for agenda setting within community to foster development and acts as a conduit in clarifying message if populace do not understand. So why we employ the Tontun Sansan to engage two cultures, which mostly known as the Gongong, is because we want to preserve and promote the cultures of these two traditional cultures. That is, you can see from here holding with Asantehene's son, the Otumfuo's hand, His Majesty, holding the Ashanti culture in his hands and its people like an egg, to promote and preserve the other cultures in the region, in Ghana and also Eswatini, to encourage the participating in leadership of its people, intelligence, truth, accountability, and education, to promote sustainable national development among two these nations, to advocate for education and research, and to preserve national resources for future generations as we use them. So, the Tontun Sansan, as we've gathered here today, is calling two clans, which the Ashanti Kingdom is represented by the eagle, and the Eswatini Kingdom is represented by the lion. So these two clans here are meeting today to foster relationship and build a sustainable agenda. Thank you very much.
Majesty King Mswati III, on behalf of His Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu III, the second, we present the second gift, which is the unity staff. So the Ashanti and Eswatini kingdoms are deeply united through their rich clan systems, each rooted in heritage, identity, and symbolism. Each clan is represented by an animal totem that reflects the unique character, values, and ancestral lineage of its people. The Asante Kingdom comprises of 8 major clans, or Ebusia, which are the Oyoko, represented by the hawk, which is the royal clan of Otumfuo. The Agona, represented by the parrot. The Adriana, represented by the dog. The Asene, represented by the bat. Asuna, represented by the crow. Asetri, represented by the vulture. Bretu, represented by the leopard. And the Ekona, represented by the buffalo. Similarly, from our research, the Eswatini Kingdom is also organized around powerful clans, represented also by animal totems. So these totems embody ancestral pride and serve as rallying symbols of unity and represent the strength of collective identity. It is in this spirit that the unity staff has been crafted to symbolize the convergence of these two ancient kingdoms and a shared vision for the African continent. So the purpose, if you look at this is a staff or a scepter. And a staff or a scepter has historically served as a powerful emblem of authority, wisdom, and spiritual leadership across African monarchies. Its upright stance and central role in royal ceremonies emphasizes guidance, strength, and the moral foundation of kingship. At the center medallion, you have the hawk and the lion. The hawk represents the Oyoko clan and the Asantehene, which symbolizes vigilance, clarity of vision, and nobility. The lion, representing the Winyama of Eswatini, stands for courage, majesty, and strength. Their placement side by side signifies brotherhood and a joint force between the two kingdoms. The Dinkra symbols surrounding the two totems represent ideals that are championed by Asantehene. So the first one here represents sustainable national development. This one represents the preservation of Asante culture. So Otumfuo has an egg in Otumfuo's hands, holding the Asante culture like an egg. This symbol represents the preservation of other cultures. This symbol represents intelligence and wisdom. This symbol represents the preservation of education and research. And this symbol represents the protection of our natural resources. And these are a call from Asantehene to you, Your Majesty, the Ingwenyama of Eswatini, to secure a prosperous and enduring future for Africa. The rod of the staff is designed with intertwining wood, so it has a spiral design. And it reflects cultural fusion and brotherhood of the two monarchs. Along its spiral path are the animal totems from the clans of both Asante and Eswatini clans. The base of the staff has an inscribed message in both Siswati and Asante tree. And this is to immortalize this moment of unity. In Asante tree, it says, "Amai mienu enuanum bako a ebetsna ho afebo." And this means 2 kingdoms, 1 brotherhood, built to endure. This phrase affirms the shared future and resilient bond between the people of Eswatini and the Asante man. We are honored to present these gifts to you, Your Majesty. Thank you.
Wonderful delivery, expatiation of symbols, precious gift from His Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, presented by the Asantehene Nana Samba Jafra. And of course, Ohineba Hine, Professor Ohineba Boachi Aji Wahine is also the board chair. Osei Tutu II Foundation and the board chair of Occompanied Teaching Hospital. These gifts contains a lot of our tradition.
Hello. Manhyia Palace na that's the way so to yanka. Baby I do see no yura Ocompanied. Asantehene Otumfuo Tutu abebio. Apejanimo Alabama Onia by Akwaba. Na ne abasi kono bi amamra kwa so. Na daben ehne utu sibo. Ene nananamo eka ho ebema opani Akwaba. Amamra kwa so brano nsemfu ewo blotro mo. Utu sibo ina hataye ansana naden. That's why I start winning. I can get your by on also ocean be. I know actually opponents.
Your Majesty, the Asantehene is on his way to join forces with you to bring the 2 kingdoms together. After this, there will be the recession. It's been great today to have Professor Nafoboni, of course, Ambassador Edward Watson, Oxford, and Oxford Books. Mrs. Rose Opemika is also here with us. Mrs. Sopo, of course, Adorable Ambassador Leslie Otumfuo.
are going according to the rhythm of the photon flow. And preceding the Asantehene are the swing parents. With the crowd involved with this, and after praying, Victoria takes around the Occompanied. And here, Benin Solo. The beginning of time. Now the Asante is going to go round. The Asantehene is going to go round to also come. So he's going to go round all along the way.